Welcome to the Traders Corner podcast, where you can find all things Forex, whether it be current market events, platform or course reviews, or just general market education. You can find it all here at the Traders Corner podcast. Roll the intro, Zach. Today, we're going to be talking about basically why it's important to match your strategy to your psychology and your lifestyle. And basically, where this kind of discussion came up from was the idea that, Daniel actually brought up the idea that, you shouldn't just really, or should you not watch somebody's course or content, like a mentor or something like that, which we definitely recommend that anybody get. Like, you don't have to go out and get a mentor. You can definitely learn to trade completely by yourself. Like, I know traders who have done it, just spending time on the charts, you know what I'm saying? Just looking stuff up on the internet, whatever. But if you choose to go out there and buy a course and get a specific mentor and really just watch their stuff, should you or should you not just kind of just basically take their course as gospel and just follow every single thing they do? Or should you kind of tweak what they do to fit what you do, right? And so, I guess we could start with, why do you think that would be kind of a question in people's head, DeHart? Why do you think that might be a question that people might have? I think it is a good question. Because it's something that I thought about myself.
Yeah, I definitely see it, because I too have thought about it myself, and it definitely stems from whoa, I mean, this guy's successful,
right,
in a field that I'm just getting into, right? He's successful in a field that I'm just getting into. Why not just imitate what he does,
right?
And then what he has, I'll get. You know what I'm saying? Right. People just think, well, he's done it, I can just do it that way, and then it'll work. But trading's one of those things where you can't just take somebody's word as God, as law. It's different, because what I see in the market, we could look at the same chart, markup, but me, you, and Zay can all see it completely different ways. You know what I'm saying? So
and we actually
because
do.
You see, yeah, we really do. When we
working together,
yeah, and then you don't want to force them. Let's say there's something in whatever course you bought that they're explaining, and then you personally just don't really see that. You don't really come across that in your market. In the market,
it happens, but it doesn't pop out to you.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's not something that pops out to you when you're looking at a chart. That might be a red flag saying, well, that maybe that's one entry. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you just don't take that entry. You know what I'm saying? You don't try to look for stuff that doesn't really come naturally to you. You don't try to force things in the market, and that's definitely an important consideration. And that's why my stance is that you shouldn't just take somebody's word as gospel. You should, even if you want to trade the same way that somebody does, you should ultimately make it your own. For example, I just got Austin Silver's course. Great course, by the way. But and he also has a VIP chat that comes along with the course. You know what I'm saying? And then it's just a bunch of people in the chat calling out that are a bunch of pretty much trading they're all trading the same way. And they all just call their trades, and then they're like, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And I'm noticing throughout the group, at first I thought it was just they're all just trying to be Austin. You know what I'm saying? But I've been in it for a couple of weeks now, and you can really see that it's more than that. People are they'll mention something, and they'll be like, well, what do you think about this in this instance? And then somebody will give their opinion, and there's back and forth there. It's not it's not it's black and white. Trading is, it's a massive gray area. You know what I'm saying? So even with that, getting Austin's course, I've realized that I have to tweak it to match me. Even though I would say his strategy does match my psychology, but it could match better. You know what I'm saying? It could be better.
Right. I think you raised a good point there with thinking about psychology, and I think it really comes into two, does it match your trading style? For example, somebody might be a very, very aggressive trader, whereas I know Isaiah, on the other hand, is not an aggressive trader. He's a conservative trader. He likes things to he basically likes the market to be this is what I'm doing. Look, I'm doing this. I'm not doing anything else. There's nothing wrong with that. That's just how he trades, right? Whereas somebody else, people in the course that I follow right now, they're going to take way riskier entries, right? And like even to like D Hart's like vein, like about like how like you might just not take a certain type of entry. Like there's one specific entry that I'm thinking about right now in the course where it's like I really just don't take them. Like everybody else in the course is always like, oh, could you like, you know, you got to take these, like blah blah blah, these reasons why you have to take them. I'm like, that's cool and all, but like they don't really work for me because I don't like doing that, because to me like it doesn't make sense, right? Like it doesn't, like to me the market's not like kind of the like what Isaiah's saying, like when he's like very conservative, like I kind of like the market to at least like tip me its hand a little bit. Like I don't need it to like be screaming at me like this is what I'm doing, but like to at least like flash it to me a little bit, you know what I'm saying? So it's like they'll take stuff when stuff's like not confirmed, right? And like I'm way less of that type of person to be like, oh, like let me try to call this top or call this bottom, where, you know, I might be technically calling a top or a bottom, but I'll wait for some other type of like confirmation. Whereas like they'll just like try to call a top, right? So it's like that type of thing. And it's really just about what type of trader are you? And it really comes down to kind of like, really like what type of person are you? Like, I'm not saying Isaiah is like a conservative person, but like, if you know Isaiah, like, you know, he like likes to have stuff correct before he goes, you know, he does it, right? Like not even just like trading, but like, you know, and it makes sense. Like he's studying to be an engineer. So it's like, you know, those are type of people who are very much like, I need this stuff right. Like, you know what I'm saying? So like, it makes sense for him. Whereas me, like, I'm kind of more, I like to take a little bit more risk. Like I'm a bit more of a risk taker. So it's like, I'm okay with like losing 3 trades, losing 2-3 trades here and there, and then like taking another one, right? So it's like, it's really just about like, what type of trader are you? So like to kind of speak to that, like what type of trader, and I feel like I might have given up the goose with you, Isaiah, but like what type of trader do you think you are, Isaiah, D Hart, and then I'll go. And like, how do you think that affects like the type of entries and stuff that you take?
Well, as you said, I'm more of like a conservative trader, obviously. But it affects me in the way like that. It's not that I'd prefer to miss out than take a bad trade, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And like, I like to make sure that what I'm doing is right. And I set up my rules in that way. So like that I'm making sure I see certain things before I take it. Like I'm not just going based on like unconfirmed thing. Cause I'm all about taking risk, but it's just, it has to be a calculated risk. It can't just be risking the risks. Say,
right.
Which I'll say that
I'm trading.
I'll say like a big, like one, like a common issue with like traders or like new traders is like FOMO, which is like fear of missing out. You know what I'm saying? And it's good that you already like don't have that.
I was actually
going to say, because that's a big
yeah.
a big hump that a lot of traders have to get over. Like I have it to a degree.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I was definitely gonna say that too, because it's like you think that like that might be a hindrance, but like you just said you're okay with missing shit. Like I'm not. Like I might say I'm okay with it, but I know I'm not okay.
But like if I see a big move, I'm like,
yeah.
damn, yo, like, that could have been me.
So you know,
but like that's a hard mentality to have.
If I see it, I'm like,
it's good that you already have it.
I like that sometimes.
Right, and then but on the flip side, like kind of speak to me like with my trading, like I'm kind of like a bit more the opposite, where I'm way more of a kind of an aggressive trader. I'm not super aggressive where like I'll take like, you know, I'll be trying to catch the falling knife or something like that. But, you know, I'll take entries at tops or bottoms where I'm saying to myself, this could definitely turn around and just continue in the same direction that it's going in right now. But at the same time, and I think it goes with what are you not, I think you brought up a good point, Isaiah. What are you okay with like happening in your trading? Like, and I think, you know, you have to like get okay with certain things like FOMO. Like that shouldn't be, you know, I'm not saying to use FOMO as a positive thing, because like I don't think that like FOMO is positive. Like it's definitely something that me and you have to work on, D Hart. But like us having FOMO shows us that like we're not okay with like missing opportunities, right? And so it's like from us knowing that we're not okay with missing opportunities, we know we're a bit more aggressive.
Yeah.
Right. But on the flip side, where Isaiah is like, I'm okay missing opportunities, I don't really care about that. But what I don't like is taking 3 trades and taking 3 losses, taking 3 unnecessary, I will say 3 unnecessary losses in a row because I didn't confirm it, right? I didn't wait for the mark. I didn't wait for these X, Y, and Z things to confirm it to me.
Because
so,
I was impatient or something
exactly.
like that. Yeah.
And so then now I know I'm more of a conservative trader. So I need to like
Mm-hmm.
tailor my strategy to that, right? And so it's like I've been doing that, like tailoring my strategy to kind of like, allow me to take those like 2 or 3 losses and still like make sure that I make up for it on the back end. But what about you, D-Hart? How do you feel like you are like as a trader? Obviously you've been saying we're kind of like a little bit similar, but
Yeah, I'm definitely more of an aggressive trader, especially compared to Isaiah. I'd say I feel like I'm a little more aggressive than you.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say you're the most aggressive one of the 3.
Yeah, of the 3 of us, I'm the most aggressive.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, but I will say though that like I still need to like the things that I need to tweak, like I need to tweak my entry because a lot of the time I'm late, and because like of like FOMO, I'm like late. I'm like, damn, well like I should just get in now while I can keep going. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want to miss out on it. Yeah. But like I was saying in like the last episode, like that's been hindering my trading. Like it's not good for my psychology. It's like it's making me force trades, and a forced trade is not a good trade. You know what I'm saying? So like it's definitely something I need to work on. That's definitely something I need to work on.
So let me ask you this. Let me ask both of y'all this. What are some things that you're doing? And Isaiah, you kind of like mentioned it a little bit. What are some things you're doing to kind of tailor your trading, like your strategy right now, to your trading style?
Oh, okay. Well, what I like to do is set like enough rules so that even though like I'm not like taking every opportunity, I'm still getting enough opportunities to where I can actually be like profitable, like, so I know there was one, I know this while back testing like one, this was a strategy I had before, but like I noticed I would go so long without like trade because I was okay with missing them. You know what I'm saying? But if you're gonna do that, then you have to set it so that you have enough entries like that you're actually still taking trades. You know what I'm saying? So without forcing,
like you're trying to set up a strategy to where you have like multiple entries, so it's like as stuff is moving, even though you're okay with missing the first part of the move, you'll be able to get it on the second part of the move possibly, or the third part, or what have you. Okay, that makes sense. And I think that's honestly something that I did with my own like strategy recently, in that like I was kind of telling you the same thing, D-Hart, and it helps both cases, right? Like it helps the more aggressive trader and the person who's a bit more conservative, because it's like, you, D-Hart, if you're seeing that the move's gone and you're like, oh shit, like there it goes, like I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get in again, and I really don't like missing the move. Again, like we mentioned in the other episode, if you have another way of getting in, you're not really gonna be as worried. And like same thing with you, Isaiah. Like, if you have another entry, like you're not gonna be worried about not getting in anyway, but like you'll be sure that you're taking enough trades to make sure that you're still profitable, right? Because that is a point. Like I'm glad you said that. Like don't think that you can like if you were to trade once a month, like you can, that's cool, but
it better be like a 200 pip move though.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was about to say. You better be killing it when you trade that one time a month. Like you better be like pretty much trading on the daily or the weekly. So it's like you have to like keep that into consideration. So it's like you can like wait for the market to confirm something to you, but at a certain point you still have to take that risk and be willing to like accept that loss. You know what I'm saying? Because like we never know what's going to happen in the market. Like at any point we could get that loss. So like who knows? But even if you're a more conservative person, you still have to be willing to take that risk. What about you, D-Hart? What do you feel like you do, like kind of set up your strategy, or like you're thinking about trying to do to set up your strategy to like tailor it more to your like psychology?
Well, for like kind of what we were saying last week about in the last episode about like me back testing more, that definitely helps, because that shows me like which because there's three main in the strategy. There's three main like entry signals, and it shows me like one which entry signal I personally see the most, and like which one I'm the most comfortable taking, and based on that I can like manage my trades better. You know what I'm saying? I'd be able to like give maybe more percent to this trade than this trade because I'm more comfortable with this entry than that entry. You know what I'm saying? And just things like, and like where price is moving from, things like that. So I'm definitely back testing. I'm not there yet, but like it is starting to help me move in the direction that to help me trade with my psychology.
Yeah, and I think I kind of echo the same thing. Like that's basically what I'm doing right now. I'm seeing which ones am I more comfortable with, and that's so I can give them more percentage because like I don't think that there's anything wrong with what you're doing. Like the way Austin explained it to us on the podcast, like how he gives like A setups more percentage than he gives C setups. Like there is, it's one of those things where people debate whether or not that's the right way to go about it, right? How are you ever going to tell somebody that something's wrong if it works for them, right? And like obviously it's working for Austin, so it's like I'm not about to tell him he's wrong, but like I go about it a different way in that I risk the same percent, but I'll take more of a certain type of trade than more of another one, right? Like, for example, let's say I'm looking at 3 trades and 3 of them are like 2 of them are this type of entry, and then the other one's like this type of entry. I might like save one. I might like not enter one of the 2 entries just so I can save it for the more high probability entry. You know what I'm saying? Because like maybe I don't want to be in that many trades at once or something like that. Like I'm not saying I do that, but like that's what I'm saying is like I focus more on certain types of entries more than I focus on giving percentage to certain types of entries. And there's something to be said for that. I think I think I like it because it helps me like make it way more mechanical in that like it helps me like cut out the noise and that like, all right, I'm seeing this, like, yeah, that might be valid and that'd be something I could take, but is it like how many of those trades have I taken already? Okay, I've taken too many of those trades based on my data for this month. So I should probably not take that one and just wait for something else and stay out of it, right? So it's like, it's that type of thing. But just to kind of shift it now to more like your lifestyle, and this is kind of why I actually started to think about even changing my strategy from the one that I had before to one that I have now. And it's fitting your trading around your lifestyle and the lifestyle, not only the lifestyle that you have right now, but more importantly, the lifestyle that you want in the future. Because you have to do stuff now that is sustainable and scalable for the future. Because it's like, let's say you have a certain routine that helps you trade to X number of dollars and you become this great trader, whatever, great. And that routine means that you have to be in front of your charts from 6 a.m. to like 10 a.m., right? And you become this great trader, cool. And you start to get investment, right? And you have like people's money to trade now. But now you're older and like for some reason you got a job and now you can't be in front of the charts from 6 to 10, but you knew you always wanted a job. So you should have like from the jump, like set up like your trading to be able to like work around a job. So like when you're like used to your routine and you're in your routine, it's something that like when you have that job, it still works with it, right? So it's like, for example, like I'm saying a job because like that's exactly what I'm in right now. That's exactly the situation that I'm in. When I first started learning how to trade, it was in college, and I knew that like trading wasn't going to be like I wasn't going to be this person who was going to come out of college and like just immediately go to like full-time trading. Like could have done it, cool. Like I'm not saying don't do it. Like if that's what you want to do, be happy. I don't care. Like that's your life. But I knew me personally, I really wanted to get out of my own house. I wanted to be able to live on my own. So I knew I was going to have to get a job, right? So I knew that while I wanted to trade, like analyze the markets every single day, cool, whatever, be involved in the markets every single day, I knew that I wasn't going to be able to be in front of the charts from 9 until like a certain time from Monday to Friday or Monday, whenever my job is, you know what I'm saying? So it's like I, from now, have been tailoring my routines and stuff to where I finish all of my trading related work to where I could like know if I have any opportunities for that day coming up by like 6:20 in the morning. And so then at that point, I still have way more time to like do everything else I need to do in the morning to like get ready for work or get ready for class, what have you, like eat, maybe I want to exercise. And I still have all of this time to know that like, all right, these are the opportunities that are on the cards because I set up my routines like that from now, right? And like I've been doing that from now and I keep doing it that way. So it's like, how do you feel like you set up your trading to like your lifestyle, if at all? Do you think you could do it better? And like, how do you feel like you could do it better?
I can go first.
Either
But
one first.
I
I
I had a
I had a
because
um
like what if you're not
what if you're not
sure what the future has how would you go about getting that um getting those processes even if you're like
Right.
what the schedule is gonna look like in the future?
I mean, if you don't know what your future holds, like obviously you can't, you can only do so much. Like nobody really knows what the future holds. Like I'm saying all this stuff about a job. We're going into a recession right now. I might not have a job. Who the fuck knows? But honestly, just like set up some stuff that like, for example, I don't even just think about like the job. I think when I have kids and I still want to be trading when I have kids, right? Like I'm not just trading for when I'm 20. I'm trading for when I'm 20, 30, 40, 50. So it's like I'm always making money. Cool. But like if I have kids, I don't want to be spending all this time in front of the charts either. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm trading so I have freedom, not so I'm like stuck in front of my computer. So it's like it's thinking like that way. Like what do you want trading to make your life? Like what do you want to get out of your life from trading? Like are you somebody who wants to sit in front of the charts for 5 hours because it's fun to you? Like if that's fun to you, then go crazy. Like I know people like that who literally they day trade because they genuinely enjoy being in front of the charts from like 5 until like 11, and like that's just what they do. But like if you know that you want to trade because while you might enjoy trading, you enjoy the puzzle of it, like all that stuff, but you also want to create that freedom for yourself to be able to go out and like live the life that you want. You probably want to create more of a sustainable thing where it's like you don't have to spend all day every day in front of the charts, right? Like even Austin, and like we refer to Austin all the time because it's like, he's somebody that we like know, like we all three of us know. So it's somebody, who's there. And on top of that, not only is he there and he's where we want to be, but we actually know him. So it's like we can speak to conversations we've had or like things that we've seen. But even Austin himself, like you'll see it that like there are days where he's done by like 7, like 8.
Yeah.
But like he might even still go until like 9, 10. But like you don't really see him like on the charts until like 2 p.m., right? Or like 1 p.m., like stuff like that. So it's like,
and that's the thing. When he gets off the charts, he's like it's done. Like he's done with trading for that day until he wakes up the next morning. He's not looking at the chart.
And that's the way you want to think about like your trading. Like that's the way I have it right now in like my own setup, and it's so easy for me. Like I'm not saying trading's easy, but like just approaching the market every single day has become so much easier because it's like once I get to a certain time in the day, well, I might still be on the charts doing like back testing or whatever. I'm not really like worried about opportunities. You know what I'm saying? Like some might be coming up, but like I'm not really like tripping over it. And so because of that, like I'm able to like do other things and stuff like that. And like trading is way more sustainable for me. Now, again, that is very like personal to me and what I like to do. If you are somebody again who likes to be like on the charts, be on the charts. I'm not about to tell you don't be on the charts. That's cool. But if you know that you're somebody who is like, you're doing this so you have a stream of income where you're working, you're putting in some work, but then you don't have to be at the work all the time, then, set it up in a way to where it's like you can do your stuff and then step away. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's what I would recommend to somebody who's kind of like unsure about what their future holds. So that way, like, even if you find out that you're somebody who likes being at the charts, all that means is now you're giving yourself more time in the beginning of the day to be prepared for all that time that you're spending on the charts, right? So it's like you can't go wrong, giving yourself more time in the morning and like setting it up that way is basically the way that I think about it. What about you, D Hart? Like, how do you feel like you like set up your stuff now?
I'm still trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
I'm still tweaking my routine. So like I don't really have a set time that I trade. I have a set routine that I do before I trade, but like I've been playing around with like the times that I trade mainly because like one, we're out of school right now, or we're in school, but we're out of school, we're at home. You know what I'm saying? So my sleep schedule is trash. Like sometimes I'll go to bed like 3 a.m. Like a couple times I was trading from like 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. because like maybe I want to trade at night. You know what I'm saying? Because like I am like a night owl. I usually do stay up. So what if I just stayed up later and then traded at night? You know what I'm saying? I was trying to tweak it to see if that would work more better for me or not. And still gathering data. So I don't know.
I think too that goes with your strategy. Like you have to see when you get like we can never know for sure, right? Like, but you have to know like when does it seem like I get the majority of the entries from my strategy? Like is it during this session, during that session, during what session? You know what I'm saying? Like you just mentioned you might have been trading at night. Like I luckily earlier in the year, a lot of the setups that I was taking, they were coming like an hour after I woke up. So it was like, had I decided to trade the Asian session, it probably wouldn't have been that bad. You know what I'm saying? Because like there probably would have been setups there. But like now I'm seeing that they don't come until like 9 or 10 or 11. So it's like you can be flexible with it, right? But I think you have to have like at least a set routine of a time that you always wake up so you can at least know, all right, for example, I knew sometimes that I might have to stay up and take an entry because I woke up. Okay. Because I woke up earlier that morning and I was able to do the work beforehand to see that like I might have to take an entry at night. So I just set up my rest of the day for me knowing that I might have to be up late trading. And then my tomorrow, set up to be, all right, I'm going to stay up late trading. So I'm probably not going to wake up the same time that I wake up usually. So it's like, you can definitely like be flexible with it. But I think like having just like a set thing that you kind of refer back to and then work off of that, it makes it way easier to like, work around because it's like, again, like I always say, like you can never know when anything is going to go in the market. Like who knows? Yeah. But if you wake up at the same time every day and you see at the same time every day, like, this might be ready at like 2 a.m. It's going to be easier for you to stay up at 2 a.m. But I mean, I think this has been a pretty good like discussion about like, shaping your strategy, right? Like not really talking about like the strategy or building a strategy itself, but like once you have something or you're starting to work with something, how do you make it work for you? Because ultimately like that's the most important thing with trading. Like that's when you start to find the most success is when you make things work for you, right? Like what we talk about and what I do and what D Hart does and what Isaiah does, it may or may not, it probably won't work for you, but try some other stuff, see what works for you. And when you really start to do that and you start to like tailor your stuff to what you do every single day, you'll start to see a lot more like comfort in your strategy, right? And I say comfort meaning like, oh, this happened, oh well, like, I get it. Like it's whatever. I come again, I do it again, right? It's that whole idea of like, once you set a routine, it just kind of becomes routine and just kind of work on that. Make sure that you're thinking about like, is this a way that is like, that I want to trade in the future? What do I want to get out of my trading in the future? So like you can help shape your trading, that way. And like thinking about like, okay, I want to trade, like I want to trade a swing trading style in the future. So maybe I should start working on like, setting up my time and schedule so I can do swing trading in the future, right? So definitely start to think about things like that. Different considerations, like really, and then also think about too, whatever mentor you have, ask yourself, no matter what they teach you, I'm not saying that your mentor doesn't know what they're talking about because I'm sure they do, or I hope that they do. Like I know that mine does, but I still question everything he says. And like I know that we know, like, Austin knows what he talks about, but even when I watch his videos sometimes, I still question everything he says, right? So it's like question everything and ask yourself, does this work for me? Does this make sense for me? Is it something that I see in the market? Do y'all have anything else that y'all want to add right now?
No, that was good.
Good. Isaiah? Nope. Cool. Well, this has been the Traders Corner podcast. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope it provided some value to you. Again, we just like to get out there, kind of document our journey, talk about some things that we're discussing and, problems that we might be having and working through our own problems to hopefully talk to anybody out there who's just a little bit earlier in the journey than us. And hopefully we can provide some value to you. That's always the goal, not sitting up here trying to pontificate and say that you have to do what we do because we know something that you don't. But if you know a little bit less about Forex, if you think you know a little bit less about Forex than we do, hopefully we provided some value to you in any way, shape, or form. So please join us again next time. Please like, please subscribe. If you're feeling very generous, share with a friend. We'd really appreciate it. Definitely catch us on YouTube as well at The Traders Corner, on Instagram also as at traders.corner. We're going to be posting all of our podcasts and everything to YouTube going forward now as well if you want to watch this on video for some reason. But other than that, this has been the Traders Corner podcast. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.